good evening, and welcome to another UTSL Network Thursday night in the Poconos. Yours truly, DJ Strategy, in the building at the comfortable Gynesis Radio station. Hope everybody that's tuned in tonight got a chance to watch Brother Ron's show. Of course, on Thursday night, Brother Ron leads off the Thursday night show showcase with his show first, and then of course, right behind Brother Ron is DJ Strategy and Amazing Amy. Today, my co-host is, she's out. She's probably in the field somewhere, probably maintaining some ships or a couple of boats or something like that. Amazing Amy probably doing some things. She's moving at a terrific speed. So big shout out to Amazing Amy. Tonight's in-studio guest, of course, we have to have in-studio guests every Thursday night. So tonight's in-studio guest is none other than my brother Hal from the Pocono Rotary Club, Mount Pocono Rotary Club. And we're getting ready for an event that's coming up May the 25th right here in East Stroudsburg. So we're going to chop it up a little bit about that. And we're going to come back in a couple of seconds with our special invited guest in the studio. There's a couple of things I want to chop it up about. I missed a Happy Mother's Day shout out last week. I forgot we was on the air, but it was a little bit too early for the Mother's Day shout outs. But, it was Thursday, so I should have said Happy Mother's Day last Thursday. But happy Mother's Day to all the mothers. I hope you guys enjoyed your Mother's Day weekend. It was a spectacular weekend for myself. Of course, we got a chance to hang out with Mad Apples. Got a chance to hang out with Chef Shayna over there at Mad Apples, 4227 Bridge Road. We did the official Mother's Day celebration over there. Nice little crowd over there, TP. Bunch of people from Brooklyn and Queens. I was surprised, and they live in East Stroudsburg now. So clap it up for them. Nice little crowd, and we had two comedians, one from New Jersey and the other one was from Rockaway, Queens, by way of Long Island, came to see us last Sunday night, Sunday evening. And then we also had the vocal stylings of none other than, what's her name again? I think her name is Vibes. Big shout out to Vibes. Big shout out to Monique. And big shout out to Lisa, the comedian that showed up and came through the Mad Apples. Also, last Wednesday night, we had the official Margarita Wednesdays at IQ Cigar Lounge. It was an incredible night. And then also this Wednesday, just the past Wednesday, which was yesterday, we had IQ Cigar Lounge, Margarita Wednesdays also. So we had a good time over there last night. Make sure you tap in on Wednesday nights. Wednesday nights starts the weekend in the Poconos. So if you have nothing to do and you're local in the Poconos, you probably want to stop by IQ Cigar Lounge, 4543 Milford Road. That's suite number 40. Make sure you stop by, tap in, get you a cigar. Again, I'm getting used to the Red Bones, so I've been hanging out with the Red Bones because they've been decent cigars. So been hanging out with the Red Bones and got a chance to play some oldies but goodies last night. So make sure you tap in on Wednesday nights. It's Margarita Wednesdays. Like I said, 4543 Milford Road, right over in the Price Shopping Center, right over here in East Stroudsburg. So if you want to tap into that, you can tap into that also. Let me see what's going on with this camera now. Let's see. So, Brother Hal, how was your weekend? How was your Mother's Day weekend? What did you do this weekend?
I can't say that it was necessarily a good one for me. First, let me thank you, DJ Strategy, for allowing me to be a guest on your show once again.
Yes, sir.
I definitely thank you and Gynesis Radio for providing this much needed radio platform for us all to be on. They host a number of good shows on here. I do want to wish a happy belated Mother's Day to all the mothers out there.
Yeah, I think they still celebrate now. I think they still probably celebrate.
Well, I tell you what a number of them told me, Mother's Day is every day.
Yeah, that's the absolute truth. Yes, sir.
I give a shout out to my grandmother. I got to spend some time with her on Mother's Day.
Nice.
And I have to say, lift up, pleasing everybody, just, lift up a prayer. My niece, who was, just 34 years old, passed away this weekend. She held out through Mother's Day. She passed away at 1:09 in the morning on the Monday after Mother's Day.
Right.
But that kind of like put a little damper on the weekend. But we celebrate life. My grandmother is 95, going on 96 years old. So was able to celebrate that life and my niece Elizabeth Brown is her name. She was a school teacher in New York City, and her her viewing will be on Thursday, and her her viewing will be tomorrow, Friday. It was originally scheduled for today, but this was one of the conflicts. We scheduled it for tomorrow, which is on Friday, and then and then her life celebration will be on Saturday from 12 to 4 p.m. up at the Lions charter school up in Bronx. Yeah.
Mother's Day is usually like one of them days for me too, because I lost my mom about 6 years ago, so it kind of hit a little bit different. So I try to stay busy and keep myself, somewhere partying or DJing or doing some type of event on Mother's Day just to keep my mind, off of that. But of course, we do celebrate life every day, man. Like you said, celebrate life every day is important. Any day above ground is a blessing. For everybody, I would say that.
Well, as somebody told me once, it's better to be seen than viewed.
Yeah, that's right. Hey,
but
that's a good one.
We are all born to die, so it's not the year you were born or the day you was born or the day you died. It's the dash that's in between. Is what we make our life that we make our life matter. So let's just jump into our event. As you know, we have our event scheduled for May 25th,
yes, sir.
Memorial Day weekend, the 27th annual Community Aviation Day and Flying Driving Pancake Breakfast events. And
yes,
the
sir.
Rotary Club of Mount Pocono has held successfully for 26 years. In fact, I seen Jose Rosario, our promoter. He was here, but he I guess he had to go. He couldn't stay for the show. Yeah. But I come here with heavy heart today because first I have to extend my sincere thanks to you, DJ Strategy, and all the individuals and organizations for the generosity, past sponsorships, and continued support of Rotary Club of Mount Pocono Community Aviation Day and the Flying Driving Pancake Breakfast event.
Nice.
But second, due to the costs associated with the various new requirements imposed by the Pocono Mountain Airport Authority, for the first time this year after 26 years without such being imposed, our annual fundraiser event would have suffered an estimated loss of over $10,000 instead of raising money for the various charitable causes that the Rotary Club of Mount Pocono supports and funds. This has led us to point number 3. In accordance with our collective obligation and financially sound corporate stewards, the Rotary Club of Mount Pocono's board of directors has decided to cancel our annual event this year instead of risking a major financial loss.
Gotcha.
All right, so I know that's news to you. I didn't give you a heads up or whatever the case is because I had to first inform our sponsors who was on board or whatever the case is.
Right.
And then, as I said, this comes with a very heavy heart that we cancel. But sometimes it's better, the diversity of our club changed. And then we were faced with a lot of obstacles. I think the last time I was on the show, I said
we spoke about
the
that.
sponsor that we needed to find a sponsor who would step up with the $20,000 in order for it to pull off. We didn't have the time to do that. I went to about 6 different board of directors meetings up there at the airport authority, and which is a public use airport.
Right.
So I went to about 6 different meetings. They finally did give us the approval, but the approval was in such a short window
because
we just didn't have time. So in my honest opinion, this is my personal opinion, I believe that it was the delay, and this was done deliberately.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, I won't say that to a fact that I know exactly what you're going through, but I would say, because sometimes people say that, I know exactly what you're going through. I feel your pain. No, but I know what you're going through because I experienced a similar situation, not just like the last couple of days. I had planned on doing a basketball tournament in our community. And every year I submit the same proposal in my community. I submit the same proposal every year. Last year, I was denied because they didn't want food involved. And I was like, well, it's only kids, we ain't gonna do nothing but sell, some hot dogs, give them some free hot dogs. It's only charging $1 for the actual event. You know, for the kids to come in, watch the basketball game. We're gonna have an oldies basketball game, whatever. But I experienced the same exact thing. They waited all the way up until the day of, or I won't say the day of, or the week of the event to tell me, you know, unfortunately, because of last year was because of the food, but we can't have food there. So because of that, you know, we're not going to allow you to have the event. So now this year, the excuse was, oh, you can have the food, but you can't have music. And I said, well, you know, I'm a DJ, so that would be one of the components of me actually being there. I would have to DJ, you know, to keep the crowd entertained. I would play music as well. We don't want you playing music that's going to be offensive to the community members or something like that, or community boards. I said, well, I have a, you know, I do have a criteria of the type of music that I play. I don't play, you know, curses. I do play, you know, kids' music or children's music or up-to-date music, but it's deletion with the deletion of the curses. And you know, because of that, you know, some people they still don't get it. You know, they figure, you know, we can play whatever you want to play, but no, you have to have some type of criteria. But with that being said, so
I want to jump back to the thing. So fourth, our board of directors, the Rotary Club of Mount Pocono's board of directors has decided that the Rotary Club of Mount Pocono will use this year, this next year, to do three things. One is to increase. I see a lot of feet stop, but it's all good.
Yeah.
To increase our strength and increase and strengthen our club's membership. You know, we have some good members. We have a few attorneys, one a retired attorney. We have a sitting judge. We have a realtor, insurance agent. So we have some real professionals in our organization, some just straight community members. But we're going to focus on increasing and strengthening our membership. Number two is we're going to strengthen our existing and build new relationships with sponsors. So next year's Community Aviation Day and Flying Drive and Pancake Breakfast will be a fun-filled event that raises funds without the risk of loss. So we're going to get started now, build on what we have. We're going to say, okay, we know where the numbers fall in at now, because, you know, these curves that they threw us, now we had to hire our own planes and hire our own pilots, and, you know, and the two people that provided the helicopters, John Henrik and Dave Moyer, who used to use their helicopters and provided free, they basically said no. They said no without saying no. They just didn't. Dave Moyer and John Henry never responded. Yes, you know, ask more questions. That, you know, they've been doing this for 26 years. You gonna do it or you not?
Right.
And I believe that, like I said, in my opinion, it was deliberate. The new owners of Moyer Aviation got together with this community foundation. They posted it on their Facebook months ago that they're gonna do an aviation event up there. This followed a letter from the airport authority saying they was going to take over our event and decide, you know, what was done and who the money that was raised went to and so on and so forth. Now they put this in writing. They backed away from that, you know, through these 6 board meetings that I went to. They backed away and said, oh, that wasn't our intent. But no sooner than as we was moving through this new application process that they put together, this 10-page application process, they was by the same token, they was maneuvering at that same time.
Right, they was maneuvering
at that same time. They was maneuvering and making plans with these two other organizations to do what the Rotary Club of Mount Pocono has been doing up there for 26 years. It's all good. You know, when they go low, we're going to go high. We're going to wish them the best with whatever event they're going to do. We're going to go ahead and put our application in for next year, whatever the case is. Because, like, even the timing on all of this, we couldn't get the support from the military display because they required a certain amount of lead time for your requests, or whatever the case is. And then, you know, the airport authorities even put in a little poison pill, if you will. They said, oh, you can't apply no sooner than 247 days before the event. So we should be able to apply as we did. We asked for a multi-year license. We're going to go back and we're going to ask for that again. A multi-year license so that we know we can put this event on based on this set criteria for the next 3 years. License on the next 5 years, since we've been doing it for 26 years. Instead of having to come and jump through these hoops of a pale, stale, and male board of directors. All of these people on this board are Caucasians. Yes, they're connected with the community, but they have nobody that represents that community up there in Mount Pocono on that board of directors. And this is supposed to be a public board of directors, so we don't have to jump through these hoops. and be delayed until 60 days is not enough time to line up with your sponsors, and we don't want to make no false representations to sponsors that we're going to be able to do in advance if we're not approved.
Right.
But now we know the criteria. That's why we walk through all of this application process. Our application next year will be clean. We'll make sure we meet all of the criteria that they've established this year, and we'll go forward. And hopefully we can come back together in a collaborative effort for something that benefits the community from the public use airport that has been funded with over $3 million from the federal government, and over the years, over $1 million from the county taxpayers. So the taxpayers are paying for it, and these private individuals now I'm going to call them out, Carl Weiler from Weiler Brush, Weiler Abrasives is the company. He actually serves on the board of the Mount Pocono Airport, of the Pocono Airport Authority, and on the board of this community foundation that is trying to take the event. So, like I said, it was in the mix, and they figured the ways to maneuver. It's sad that it went that way. This year, we're going to step back. We're going to say, hey, we ain't going to do it this year. We'll do it next year. Hopefully, we'll repair whatever relationships need to be repaired, but we're going to have some new relationships. Our people now know, I've already informed them, look, we're looking at Memorial Day weekend 2025. It's like, that's great. Now we have the time to plan it out, or whatever the case is. We can put this in our budgets. So our sponsors list this year is they're knowing it's coming next year. So put this in your budgets early, or whatever the case is, instead of And
now you got, not to cut you off, but now you have a full intention, full blueprint, full everything now. So now going into next year, it would be less likely for them to, throw it to the side and say that it's not worth it.
Well, if they throw it to the side next year, we're going to sue them straight out. Legal action is coming if they try to do it next year, or whatever the case is. Then we'll be ready for that. But we're also going to staying on a high road, we're going to undertake new community service projects that provide needed services to the residents of Mount Pocono, PA, and Monroe County, including our RCOMP at Saturday Institute, our volunteer income tax assistance program. And 3, collaborating with other Rotary clubs and nonprofit organizations on other community service projects. Now we'll talk about that. 5th and finally, it's my hope that we can use this time today to talk a little bit about Rotary Club of Mount Pocono, what we've done, what our future plans is in our community service projects that we will undertake. See, we could risk losing $12,000 to $15,000, or we can be financially prudent and we can realign that money with the projects that we want to provide to the community, one of which is our Saturday Institute. The Saturday Institute is going to be geared towards youth from 16 in 2 groups. The youth group is 16 to 18 years old, 16, 17-year-olds that are still in high school, okay? And that will meet on Saturday mornings at 8:30, location and program to be announced. We have the outline already of the syllabus of the program. The curriculum is being worked on, and it'll be ready to be rolled out for the starting new year. And it will be open with particular reserved seats for residents of Mount Pocono and the Pocono Mountain School District, but open to all residents of Monroe County. Our second group is 18 to 22-year-olds. All right, now these adults, young adults, if you will, that are in college or of college age that have decided not to go to college. The Saturday Institute will have a FIT program. FIT, financial literacy, introduction to occupations, and Tech Connect. The financial literacy will teach them about credit, about banking, about how to do a personal budget. Each of them, it's broken into a 12-week session. All right, and the first 4 weeks is focused on the financial literacy aspect. There'll be engagement. The second 4 weeks is focused on the introduction to occupations. We will actually have professionals from different fields, professional fields and civil service workers, government workers, that will come out and actually speak at this at our Saturday Institute to the students and participants. And I like to call them participants more than students. All right. And speak to them about the jobs. During this session, they'll be learning how to put together their resume, how to fill out applications, and having mock job interviews. The third session is the third 4 week session of that 12 week is for the Tech Connect. It's about this hardware and software, hands-on with the hardware and software to say, okay, how do you use these devices like this right here, like this computer that's in my hand? This is actually a computer. These phones are not smartphones. They're computers with more capacity, computing capacity in the palm of our hand, and the computers had to send America to the moon, the first moon landing in the 60s. We have some powerful tools how to make the best use out of these different social media platforms, how you can actually build careers and actually financially stable careers.
Yes, absolutely.
Out of these online programs, whether it's be via Amazon resellers or whatever the case is, or whatever you're doing. But we're going to now connect that. We'll have an IT professional come in and talk to them about different ways to utilize certificate programs. And this is linking the introduction to occupations and the Tech Connect. A lot of companies don't care anymore if you have a degree, whether it's a bachelor's, master's, or doctor's. They want to know that you can do the work.
Right, you've got the experience.
That you have the know-how, not necessarily even the experience sometimes, strategy, just the know-how. So there are different certificate programs. That's one that's offered through Google or Khan Academy or wherever you can get these certificate programs in Cisco, that if you have these certificates under your belt, you've taken those, those courses or whatever, and obtain the certificate, and you have the know-how that you can now apply and get this job without the college degree. And it's not undermining college in any way.
Right. And that level of professionalism can come through tutelage from a different aspect. Because like most of the time, people would think that I know back in the days, LaGuardia Community College had a program like that.
There was BOCES programs,
right.
Haryouth, or
and you could take
youth programs.
You could take those. You could take those programs and wind up. It wasn't much, if you would say, but you could take that program almost as similar to you taking your food handler's certificate.
Right.
Like it was the same thing. Like you could go and take a business course that showed you how to do certain things, and then would lead you into that next class or that next course. They'll show you something else, and then you mess around. You come out of that experience knowing some things that you didn't have to go to school to learn.
That you didn't have to necessarily go to college.
Right.
And I want to say this: the Saturday Institute is not here to replace high school. It's not here to replace college. It is here to augment, to add on to the education that our students receive in high school and or college, and to give them, in some instances, in many instances, information and knowledge about things that they never even received. Now, this has been Rotary's way. Rotary's way since 1905 has been to get out in the world, see a need, and address it. That's why Rotary International has fought over all of these years to eradicate polio. I think there's about 2 countries in the world where polio exists now. Inoculated over 1.5 billion people on the face of this planet and almost eradicated polio. We're believing that that's going to be done. We are now getting on with something called RAP-AP, which is Rotary Action Group Addiction Prevention Program. All right. And this is our new worldwide focus. We have backing from the Walmart Foundation, the Gates Foundation, and other foundations, so that we can get ahead of this addiction. And I myself, being in recovery now almost 30 years or whatever the case is, understand praise God a day at a time. I understand that the better way is to avoid addiction instead of having to recover from addiction. And Rotary is taking this on the forefront through this action group. We are looking at how our Rotary Club, they're going to come train up our Rotary Club on what we can do so that we can open the doors. Our club is now focused on securing a location so that we have a location where we can open the doors and be of service to the community on different things. Some fun events, some events for the youth to come in with the Saturday Institute, as I explained, so that we can do our bingo thing and raise just a little bit of money that goes a long way, or whatever the case is. Instead of doing what our club has done in the past, putting all our eggs in this one event fundraising basket that can basically be put asunder if a certain group of individuals
just decide not to participate or not to get involved,
that they don't want us to have it. So we're going to take a different focus, and we're going to build back and build better, and move forward, or whatever the case is. We also, because we are a nonprofit 501c3, C4, while we can't, hey, good looks, my brother, and all good. Even though we can't get involved in body politic, tell you who to vote for, we can get involved in voter registration. Now, me personally, I don't care whether you're a Republican or a Democrat or independent or unregistered. The reality is you do need to vote. It is a right that was hard fought for in this country. And I am of the frame of mind, if you don't vote and you're on the sidelines, you don't have a right to speak up about what this country is or isn't doing.
Mm-hmm.
Get involved. Go out there, register to vote. This may be the most important election that we have had in our lifetime. So it's important that you get out there and exercise that right, that constitutional right that you have to vote or whatever the case is from a candidate of your choice. Get informed about it or whatever the case is. So we will be, moving with voter registration and collaborating with other organizations on other community service projects. So our doors are open, our minds are open. Rotary has gotten, our 7 areas of focus include clean water and sanitation.
Yeah, I remember we was talking about that before too, about doing the clean water whole thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Or another one of our areas of focus is maternal and child health, which also incorporates mental health.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be looking back at our core economic, community and economic development, basic literacy. Is another one of our core areas of focus. So we're going to realign our Rotary Club into what I call not feel good projects, but real good projects that get in and focus on Rotary's, one or more of Rotary's 7 areas of focus that we can deliver in this community. Because as I said, when I first became president of this Rotary Club, we're going to let this little light shine.
Mm-hmm.
And that little light shines by you striking that match and you sparking that flame on that candle that somebody's going to carry into that dark room and bring light into that dark room beyond what you and I can do strategy.
Right,
we can pour into our youth. When I ran on the Y. WHY. Water, health, and youth. Okay? And that's what we're going to get to. We're going to get to focusing on water, health. I've been to the doctor. I need to do some things with my personal health. And we're going to pour it into our youth because there's where we get our immortality, is by pouring it into our youth so that they can take it beyond the borders of Mount Pocono, beyond the borders of the United States, and spread this good stuff throughout the world.
Because you gotta realize most even you go to the older ages. A lot of people say older men don't go to the doctor, but it starts somewhere, right? It don't start as you being an older man and forgetting to go to the doctor or not going to the doctor until you get your health. So it has to start at an early age. So having that type of intervention at such an early age, I think that makes a definite impression on children. One of the things I was just talking to somebody about the other day, like he was saying, he wanted to teach his nephew how to tie a tie. And I was like, it's like he was teaching his nephew how to tie. Then he wound up, it was not just him, his nephew, then somebody else, his nephew's friends and a couple of other friends. Now everybody's sitting there and he's teaching them how to tie a tie. Another thing that I was going to talk about with the Rotary Club is hopefully doing like a debutante ball. I want to do something like that for the high school students or something like that and put that together.
I'll say this. I think Rotary, one of the things that our Rotary Club and Rotary International is first to admit, we are not all things to all people. We have our 7 areas of focus, and we stay in our lanes. And I don't. There's ways that we can try to bring things in under a particular umbrella, but we really do need to stay in our lanes. There's sister organizations. I raise it up and clap it up for the Lions. I've spoken to the president of the local Lions Club. I've spoken to the president of the local Kiwanis Club. In fact, we're going to have a joint meeting or whatever the case is, where we can touch the community in so many ways, but we can't be everything for everybody. So if we are not that resource, I hope to put you or others in touch with the resource. I want to focus on, like I said, we now have a location that we'll be able to utilize to do a number of good things from, and run real programs on a regular basis, like the health program, even if it's once or twice a week that we open our doors up and say, hey, just come in and have a movement session or a yoga session in our space or whatever the case is. That's a good thing. It's a space also that other nonprofit organizations will extend to be able to use for like the meetings. I'm a member of the and I'm going to give you a big shout out of the Blackfoot Pocono Gun Club. We meet on the third Saturdays every month. By the way, I'm asking for an excuse absence tomorrow from the meeting, but we meet or whatever. They have meet and greets, whether it be the NAACP or the NCNW or Salvation Army or Pocono Moms, if they want to have a little meeting, whatever the case is. something that they want to get some meet and greet and get information out to the community.
Mhm.
That'll be if a book club wants to come in and have a meeting or whatever the case is, because they don't have an alternative space that's available. Because a lot of times our libraries up here, they close out at like, 5 or 6 o'clock, and that's it. But you want to have an evening meeting, and it's not affordable because library now wants to charge you to open up the library,
that's right.
and so on
They
and
gotta
so
charge
forth,
you.
whatever the case is.
Yeah.
We understand that. Guess what? Here's hey, what's going on? Tell leaders doing, man, coming in. So there's alternatives, and we're gonna hope to be that alternative to the community and just keep expanding on. One of the things over that Rotary Club of Mount Pocono has done, we have given out over $200,000 to different nonprofit organizations, including the Salvation Army and Meals on Wheels, but also in helping to build the community center up in Pocono Summit,
Right.
with a community church up there, giving money to the food pantry and to the Special Olympics and the other things. But now it's time.
I did see the Rotary Club sponsorship when we did the Special Olympics last year. I saw that there. So so the community-based organization, community-based events that are happening in the area, and like you said, the 7 principles and 7 major areas of focus, and just knocking those out one by one day at a time, and trying to make I think what my intention was by bringing you to the show was to give more notoriety to the Rotary Club, because like I said, I personally, I had become a member of the Rotary Club, in North Carolina, and I didn't know what it, the extent of it was. But being a African American manager in restaurant business, you had a lot of people who were involved in the Rotary Club that made decisions in those little small towns where, if a certain business was about to open, we had Rotary Club, we had, the what did you just mention? You just mentioned the Kiwanis Club. You had all and the Lions Club. You had
those driving into these small towns, and you would see these street emblems or whatever, and you also had the Masons, so you would see these 3 or 4 different emblems, and it lets you know that they was in the town. And with Rotary, it wasn't until 1965 that Rotary started allowing people of color, Black people, African Americans, into Rotary. Then started letting women in until 1987. But it's evolving and it's growing, and it's a good thing. Coming back locally, our Rotary Club, like just most recently, we donated buddy benches to the intermediate, Clear Run Intermediate, and to the Clear Run Elementary School. Once they get installed, we'll have a little promotional event about that, and we're looking to do more with the school to help funnel money through our organization to help the school and help the students there. We've given out consistently, I think for about the last 20 years, scholarships to all of the local high schools. Right now we've taken back the responsibility. Like normally in past years, the Rotary Club has written a check to the local high schools and said, okay, here's a check for $1,000, and let the high school do it. Well, under my leadership, we've taken that responsibility back in the Rotary Club. Nice. We put out an essay. This year they had to do a 500-word essay on what is the most pressing need in your community. And we got some, and we're reviewing them. We'll make our decision. I promise that we'll make our decision about 5 o'clock on Monday. We're going to finish reviewing the essays and the applications this weekend. Nice. The committee will make its decision, and then we'll notify the schools. And we'll be giving out those scholarships as we have in the past to local high schools up and around Mount Pocono, the Pocono Mountain East, Pocono Mountain West, and the Monroe County Technical Institute will receive, students from each school will receive a scholarship. Well, I don't really even want to call it a scholarship. I want to call it what it really is. It's a financial assistance grant that we're giving to the students, because a scholarship, a true scholarship in my mind, is when you do like what the Albert Einstein Hospital Center is doing. They're underwriting an entire education, an entire bachelor's degree, medical degree, or whatever. That's a scholarship. I think we were talking about that before. Now, Rotary International gives out true scholarships for master's degrees, and they cover for students who have a bachelor's degree who's interested in peace and conflict resolution. We offer every year 100 scholarships, full board. That's room and board, that's tuition, that's books, that's travel money, everything, a full scholarship for people who want to study peace and conflict resolutions and come out with a master's degree in that field. Otherwise, it's financial assistance. And let's be honest, $500, $1,000, $2,000, that ain't even putting a dent in the tuition. You know, I had the pleasure and honor of being at the Boy Scouts annual dinner.
That was last week. Yeah,
last week. And Brother Ken, the president of ESU, was there. And he received the man of distinction, the person of distinction award, or whatever the case is. But I had a few minutes to chop it up with him, and I like where he's going. He's been in the system for a long time, but he's looking for ways that ESU cannot just have more students, but produce a better quality of student that goes out into the world.
Yes, big shout out to Brother Ken too. Big shout out to him, the president of ESU, our first Black president of ESU. Also, I got a chance to meet him at the NAACP Awards, along with his wife and his family.
His two daughters.
Yeah,
they was there too.
They hold him down. So they hold him down. They really hold him down. Brother Ken, good brother. He the crazy thing about it is he reminds me of my brother Kenneth, because they're the same height. They both played football. And I had the opportunity to introduce him to my mother-in-law. She was, you look just like Kenneth, you know, just like Kenneth.
Maybe your dad?
Well, but she, you know, she was just, inquiring. But let's also do this. Let's see if you can, when you get those names of those individuals who wrote the essays. If you can, send me a list of the names, and I'll go ahead and shout them out on the radio show next week.
And that's a two-step process. Let me first,
once you get school,
but then we have to get permission from their parents, because we are still dealing with youth. Permission from the parents for us to be able to release their names. But I tell you, it was rather interesting. And I read like some of the essays already. I'll finish because the death of my family or whatever the case is. I didn't have the time that I had, but they really hit the pulse. They really hit.
Anything that sticks right out, like that you can remember right off the hand without mentioning too much.
Let me do this. Let me not do that right now. Okay. I'm gonna come back if you'll have me. And the reason I don't want to highlight any one person. There was two that just touched my heart.
Right.
But I don't want to say them on air because I don't want to influence my members. I don't want to give it like, that these are absolute fait accompli winners or whatever the case is. I just say everybody that took the time to write the essay is a winner.
Nice.
Because it allowed them to reflect on, like I said, what is the most pressing need in their community. It showed that they want to do better for themselves. And what my goal is in the future is, you always have to have a winner in a contest.
Right.
But I think that they should all be winners. And my goal in the future is to establish through our Rotary Foundation of Mount Pocono, which is separate from the Rotary Club. The foundation focuses on raising the money. So that through that foundation, we'll be able to raise enough money that we can give a participant award, financial participant award for everybody that took the time, every student that takes the time and writes these essays. Because it's 500 words this year, but I'd like it to get to the point where it's at least 1,000 words. I think every high school senior should be able to write 1,000 words.
Well, sure, that's what we had to do. We had to do. It was more than 1,000. They had to do
right. And if they participate, just from participating, just from undertaking that activity, and the criteria is going to get harder going forward, by the way. Right now, we just left it open, but now we want to see that our high schools are putting out the quality of student who can focus on an issue, give us analytics, show that they've done some research into the issue, and then come up with a proper and articulate solution to the question at hand, or to the problem at hand. And that, I believe, will help us build better community, because now our youth is following. And I see the wrap-up sign.
Yep. We're on our way.
I want to ask you a question. Just one quick question about the scholarship. Just about the scholarship in general. The scholarship is basically projected towards one type of education. In other words, like, is it, if I took science, would I be good to do what you need me to do, or I have to be in a particular field?
And you may not have heard this. Kendall Stevenson, he has the empowerment show on Gynesis Radio. So he happens to be in the studio. And he asked me, is the scholarship geared towards a particular area of science or whatever the case is? And I'm glad to say no. And let me tell you why. Because right now there's a lot of focus on, science, technology, engineering, and math, the STEM program. And the problem is when the money from the government and these programs go towards one particular or a couple of particular areas, it tends to undermine the other areas, the arts and creative sources or the culinary arts. That's why we give scholarships not only to the regular high school students who are pursuing academics, we also give to MCTI, which is pursuing culinary arts and whatever the case is. So no, it's not. And we want those people who want to be in mechanical fields, on the art fields, or liberal arts, or whatever the case is, because we need all of that. We need all of that. So no, our scholarships are not limited. It's limited to the individuals, youth, who will take the time to identify a problem, write about it, and make a suggestion as to the solution. Don't just tell us the problem. We want suggestions towards the future. But on the next show, I'm going to tell you, I'll get into it because we got some good ones.
Yeah, we'll get into it. We'll chop it up because that's what I wanted to do. I'll make sure we acknowledge them because, like you said, there's a winner, but we want everybody to feel like they're a winner. Actually, what we'll do, we'll come back in a couple of days. Next Thursday, we'll revisit that. I'll chop it up with you, off the air, whatever. We'll revisit that and come back and talk about that. But going forward, the next event will be planned. The breakfast event will be planned for next year.
It's going to be the Saturday that falls inside of Memorial Day weekend. And while I'm here, I do got to give a quick shout out to Gotta Go Polly's. They stepped up very, very early on and said they was a sponsor. I'm definitely hoping they'll stay on board for next year. ShopRite stepped up or whatever the case is also. And she's actually been bugging me wanting to provide some stuff. Thank you so much, Brandy and ShopRite of Mount Pocono. Y'all been great. Jamie Levy Law Firm stepped up or whatever. Mitchell Marcus, he stepped up and was a sponsor. And the Pocono Children for Family Services, they gave us a free use of their facility. Thank you so much. Though we won't use it this year, we hope that we can have it for next year, whatever the case is. And that's it.
And don't forget
DJ Strategy.
Don't forget your favorite DJ,
right? And DJ Strategy,
yes, sir.
Whatever the case
yes,
is.
Sir.
We will honor our commitment to the
absolutely.
If you want that,
absolutely.
If you want to roll that over, whatever the case is, that's it. But we do thank everybody, even Kendall Stevenson was willing to be our photographer. So a lot of people came with the willingness, but it's just we had to be financially prudent and we can't take a risk, and we didn't have enough pre-sales in this short period of time or whatever the case is. And I give a big shout out to Jose. He did his best or whatever the case is. But we just didn't have enough, and I'm not going to, under my leadership as the president of this Rotary Club, risk losing $12,000 to $15,000. My ego ain't that big, and we'll walk on my ego. That's proper students with the foolish man. Thank you so much for having me on.
Absolutely, definitely. Appreciate you, Brother Hal, and in the near future we'll be chopping it up again with the Pocono Rotary Club.
Rotary Club of Mount Pocono. Let's get it right one time. Rotary Club of Mount Pocono.
Yes, sir. Right. The president of the Rotary Club of Mount Pocono. We'll be chopping it up with him again soon. Like I said, Amazing Amy couldn't make it this week, so I want to give a big shout out to Amazing Amy, also to the rest of the Gynesis Radio family. Make sure that everybody taps in, and I'll see you guys next Thursday night at 6 p.m. Amazing Amy should be in the building, along with some more of our guests. Big shout out to Lulu's Events. Happy birthday to you, Lulu. Tonight we're going to 1836 Saloon, and we're going to celebrate for Phil Jr.'s birthday. I got a little bit of 80s music. Everybody's over there dressed like Phil Jr., and they got on their Rangers outfits and stuff like that. So I'm going to get ready to head over there. And big shout out to everybody tuned in tonight. We'll see you again next Thursday night on UTSL Network. Yours truly, DJ Strategy, at the comfortable Gynesis Radio studio. Big shout out to all the Gynesis Radio DJs, all the Gynesis Radio shows. And if your radio is not on Gynesis Radio, the radio is not on, baby. See you soon.
I like
Peace.
that one.